I am. Okay. I'm sorry. Thank you, Mike. I didn't hear the cutoff there. But anyway, thank you, Kat, for your wonderful music and everything else. I'm on the cell phone today, folks, and I hope you can hear me well and everything's clear. I'm out on a boat right now with my son and my wife, trying to relax and get a few days in of just being with my family. And my son just got back from Afghanistan, as most of you know, and just trying to show him a good time as much as I can anyway. But I think all veterans need that type of outlet to get out and do what they can do, and enjoy the world as much as they can, and forget about the past if that's at all possible. I doubt it, especially in the USS Liberty cover-up and murders of my mates. And again, everybody knows I do this show because of USS Liberty and my love for my mates, the people that perished that day in international waters at the hands of the State of Israel in a premeditated, cold-blooded, murderous attack on a flagged American ship in international waters, doing what our government had ordered us to do and be in that position. Now, we have a great guest coming on tonight, Bart Van Ness. Now, Bart, hang on. I have some Liberty business I have to get taken care of, and, of course, RBN business. And just sit back, relax, enjoy yourself, and listen to the show, and we'll get you on just as soon as we can and get your very, very important testimony done. Again, I want to thank my shipmates and the people that support this show, and a lot of shipmates do, and of course some don't. But you can't please everybody, just the way it is. But I do it for you guys. I don't do it for me. I do it for you guys. I was one of the lucky ones. I survived that attack, and it just seems like yesterday that we were forsaken by our country 45 years ago, as we are forsaken today. Just like, I'll get a little off topic here, but a little off topic means of what's going on with the Romney camp and their voter fraud, and what else is going on. Who knows, what is going on with their country, folks. It's not supposed to be that way, but it is. And here we are. So, again, I just, I'm very proud to be on this radio program. And, again, support your sponsors on RBN, Republic Broadcasting Network. Real talk, real news, real people, because you can handle the truth. And if you can't handle the truth, you don't need to be listening to RBN. I mean, that's just the way I feel. I mean, there's so many great hosts that John Statmiller has lined up for his programming, his outstanding corps of engineers, and Mike's doing my show tonight. Thank you, Mike, very much. And here goes a break. Remember, support your sponsors on RBN. We'll be back in just a moment. Thank you. God bless you. And, again, support your sponsors is very important. Thank you.
I'll hear the bomb again. I'll hear the bomb again.
Chlorine, fluoride, pathogens, and more are in the water you drink day to day. Do you want the ability to remove and reduce those harmful things in the water you drink? You can. How? With a Berkey water filter. A complete standalone gravity filter system that requires no electricity and no plumbing. Used for emergencies or for every day. Berkey systems come in 7 different sizes. Where can you get one? From GetBerkey.com. That's GetBerkey.com. With the purchase of each system, you get 50% off accessories, such as fluoride filters, water level spigot, and sport bottles. Plus free shipping on all orders over $25. For a limited time, get 5% off all ceramic systems when you use coupon code RBN. Call Get Berkey at 855-GET-BERKEY. That's 855-438-2375. Or visit getberkey.com. That's getberkey.com.
Don't answer it! How can I stop these annoying collection calls?
Imagine being free from your debt without settling and with no payment plan, no negotiating or filing bankruptcy, and no attorneys. What if you could eliminate the risk from all your unsecured debt in about 90 days and keep all your money? You can. It's called Zero Debt Guarantee, and it works. There's no other program of its kind on the planet, and we guarantee the results in writing. Call now, 800-477-9256. Let our team of experts provide you with the resources to fight back, stop collection calls, and prevent and stop wage garnishments and bank levies. If you're facing foreclosure, we can help. Don't go it alone. Get free information now by calling 800-477-9256. Talk to an expert who has also completed our program. Call 800-477-9256 for free info, or go to ZeroDebtGuarantee.com. That's 800-477-9256, or go to ZeroDebtGuarantee.com.
As business becomes more difficult, control of cash and the ability to borrow becomes critical. Working capital cash is your greatest insurance and guarantee of financial stability in these uncertain times. Equipment leasing allows you to obtain the income-producing equipment that your business needs and pay for it with tax-free, ever-devaluing dollars. Money that you've already earned and paid taxes on should be sparingly used. That is your reserve capital, safety net. We are also able to buy and lease back equipment that you already own and have depreciated, thereby making more cash available for your present-day needs. For a complete, comprehensive explanation as to how this financial truth will benefit your business future, call Bob New Incorporated at 888-639-2621. 888-639-2621. Keep your working capital cash reserves and borrowing capability. 888-639-2621.
They said that Israeli forces knew not of the liberty's true identity, and so they took advantage of the serenity. They attacked the silent ship, making a 40-foot hole in the starboard, killing 34 and wounding almost 200 more. They're just sending down the merciless napalm. It looked like a devil's Star Wars, and the Liberty fell like a wounded and dying lamb. The men in the lines betrayed, and their souls were surely damned. And all the fear and the death and the pain will never depart me. I'll hear the bomb again. I'll hear the bomb again. I'll hear the bomb again.
Welcome back, folks. Here we go to Your Voice Counts on this Friday evening here in Colorado. It is approximately a few minutes after 7 o'clock, and of course on the East Coast we know it's 9. Perfect time for this radio show. And folks, if you want to call in 877-485-5350. That's 877-488-5350, because I think you're going to want to talk to my guest coming up here in just a moment. But I also wanted to get to RBN has had a pledge drive going for a while, not really too long, but they certainly need help, as everybody does, trying in this economy to keep a quality, fantastic radio show that RBN does put on. And I think John Statmiller and the rest of the crew would be happy if you click on republicbroadcasting.org and send them a few bucks and keep this show the quality type of people that John has on his show, and the hosts and the guests. It's just fantastic, and I've been very, very fortunate with RBN. They've done me many favors that I can only count my blessings for. I got a 2-hour show now, and it's in honor of my mates. That's 2 hours a week to honor my mates, and all the fallen of this country. You know, how many people, folks, have been slaughtered, have been let out to be murdered by a country? And I'm not talking about a foreign country. I'm talking about our country. And I hate to say that. I do. It just breaks my heart because I was born and bred an American. I am an American. But when you find out that your own government will set you up and then lie about it, and then turn around and tell you not to say anything about it, it's pretty disgusting. It's more than that. It's heartbreaking. It's been 45 years of heartbreak for most of us, and we're losing a lot of guys now. They're getting older, and of course I'm getting older. I don't know how much longer I'm going to stick around, but I feel like I got 45 years of a free pass because I didn't get killed that day. Should have been. Had every chance to get killed, but the good Lord was on my side, as He was quite a few others, and we're here to talk about it. And so, you know, when you think about turning on RBN, think about the people that care about America. And I just listened to the last show, a little bit of it, and heard, you know, that Israel had a lot to do with the towers coming down. The motivation for it was there, and the motivation was because of our support for the state of Israel. Now, you can argue, was it a a thermite explosion? They came down that way or whatever, but we do know Israel was involved one way or another. So that's a fact, folks. So it's just, it's something that's been going on for so long, and they own our Congress, they own our churches, they own the Hagues of the world, they just own everything, and they want more and more and more and more every day. Folks, you know, if you got any extra water, you want to send to Palestine, please do it. They cut off their water supply. That's right, they cut off their water supply. They can't even feed their children, let alone give them clean water. I mean, come on, folks. We're paying for that. United States citizens are backing that up with the good faith of the United States of America backing up an apartheid state that treats young children and old men and old women worse than cockroaches, worse than anything. Come on, let's give these people something to eat. Let's give them some water. Better yet, let's give them their land back. Israel, give them their land back. It's not your land. You stole that land in 1967. And you keep on stealing land. On and on every day. So, you know, we got to stick up for these people. If we don't, nobody else is. I mean, my God, we're human beings, and they're human beings. They suffer just like everybody else does. So let's, you know, the fortunate, the unfortunate in this country, let's get together and try to help these people. At least get them some water. Now, that's just, when I read that, I just broke down in tears. It just broke my heart. But I wanted to get on with the rest of the show, but I want to thank a good friend of mine, John Gadesco. He was a former intelligence officer aboard the USS Liberty. I'm sure you've heard me talk about John before. And just go to his site, tinyurl.com/USS Liberty, and that's the best site you're ever going to find on radio or the net is on John's site. That's tinyurl.com/USS Liberty. Go to his site. Don't go to Jim Ennis's site. I'll guarantee you that. Don't go to his site. You're going to get a lot of anti-Semitism and a lot of Jew haters and a lot of this and a lot of that on his site. You won't find that on John's. You'll find honest reporting. Also, if you go to James Morris's site, ushijack.com, that's ushijack.com. He has a wonderful site there and updates it every day. And also, especially Kat and her husband, Rick, that contribute so much to this show. And, of course, Ron Kukl. And Ron has always gotten great guests for us, and certainly appreciate it. And I hope to get Ron back on again next week. We're going to have a special guest, Ernie Gallo. He was a former CT aboard that ship, and he's going to be talking with us, his experiences and what he went through. So it should be a very, very, very interesting show. And again, Kat and Rick, thank you so much for all you do, and everybody else. And Tom Murphy out in the East Coast that does all the YouTubes for us. He's just a fantastic guy. I appreciate that, Tom. And just keep on doing what you can do, folks. And again, support your sponsors, and we'll just keep on going on and on and on. And what we're going to do is we're going to bring Bart up now and talk to him just a minute before the break comes up again, and let Bart tell you a little bit about himself first, because Bart can do it better than I can. But we'll get into why this gentleman, this very honorable gentleman, a man of courage, a man of honor, gave up so much for the USS Liberty. And welcome, Bart, to the show. Welcome to Your Voice Counts, and especially welcome to RVN.
I really appreciate it, Phil. Well, it's very important that we remember the attack on the USS Liberty on June 8, 1967, and these are the reasons. Number one, the heroism of the crew saving the ship and honoring them, the 34 killed and the 172 wounded. That's the first reason. The second reason is saving the ship prevented World War III, because if Liberty had been sunk, Egypt would have been blamed, and we would have been involved and drawn in the Middle East War, and World War III would have exploded. The cover-up resulting in the capture of the Pueblo in January 1968. And North Korea would not have attempted to capture this, but would have known they could have, but they knew they could get away with it just like the Israelis did. Planes for the Enterprise were 1 hour away, and nothing was done. The planes were called back during, just like the Liberty incident. Now, the attack on the Liberty was a forerunner to 9/11, and there is a direct link to 9/11. Both were cover-ups. As you know, Phil, I have read all the books and videos on the Liberty, including Jay Crystal's book, which is a mass of disinformation. In 2005, I wrote a letter to the U.S. Naval Institute to rebut a letter concerning Crystal and mentioning Tito Howard's video. It was never published. And after reading your book, what I saw that day, I started the ball rolling concerning the U.S. Naval Institute, as you know. Now, at this point, before I go any further, I wish to recommend to your listeners to purchase your book, That Day. You can from American Free Press, which is Suite 100, 645 Pennsylvania Avenue, Southeast Washington, or you can call 1-888-699-NEWS or 1-202-547-5585. And I cannot emphasize this enough. Now, as you know, Phil, I sent the U.S. Naval Institute a book review.
Hey, Bart, hang on just a moment for a break. Thank you very much. We'll see you. We'll pick up. We're locked up, and here we go, folks. Again, support your sponsors on this great broadcasting station, public broadcasting. And listen, if you can, just send a few bucks on their pledge drives. We'll catch you in just a few moments, folks. So thank you for listening, and get the call-in number if you'd like.
Advanced personal water filter available today. It filters contaminated water from almost any source. Life Straw is lightweight and compact, perfect for hiking, camping, or in an emergency like a flood. Life Straw is easy to clean, comes with a 1-year warranty, and has been used worldwide since 2005. Get the amazing Life Straw personal water filter at mypatriotsupply.com. Plus, check out Survival Seed Vault, 20 seed varieties for only $37.95, Tatler canning lids, long-term storable foods as low as $69.95, and much more at mypatriotsupply.com. Enjoy stress-free shipping on all orders over $49. Call 866-229-0927 or visit mypatriotsupply.com. That's 866-229-0927, mypatriotsupply.com, for emergency preparedness, self-reliance, and food independence.
Do you flinch when a police car appears in your rearview mirror or you get pulled over? Are you squeamish when an envelope arrives in the mail with the return address of a court, a government agency like the IRS, or some law firm? Would you like to escape government agency harassment? Then visit escapeharassment.com. George Bush allegedly says, the government constitution is nothing but a doggone piece of paper. Well, that's a contract. A contract is an offer acceptance of that offer, at which point a contract arrives by law and the offerer can no longer withdraw the offer. We teach, do not accept. That way there is no contract or agreement for you to go to their court or private club meeting. To escape government agency harassment like the IRS, visit escapeharassment.com. This is a tried and proven experienced process, not experimental, with a money-back guarantee that it works and success testimonials from previous students. Remember, escapeharassment.com. That's escapeharassment.com.
Heart-related health problems affect millions of people each year. Maybe you're one of the many who suffer from issues related to angina pain, high blood pressure, congestive heart failure, unbalanced cholesterol, irregular heartbeat, or clogged arteries. There is a solution that doesn't involve expensive prescription drugs that only mask the problem and leave you with horrible side effects. If you are ready to live your life free of sickness, pain, and fear, live your life with increased vitality, energy, and youthfulness, and experience your body healing itself, then you're ready for Heart and Body Extract from Healthy Hearts Club. Heart and Body Extract has a 23-year proven track record of using certified organic herbs that make up an excellent formula to balance and support the heart and circulatory system. In as little as 2 weeks, you can feel amazing results when your 2-month supply of Heart and Body Extract today. Call 1-866-295-5305 or go to hbextract.com.
The time has finally come for the story to be told that should have been listened to a long time ago. In 1967, on the 8th day of June, came the attack of the Liberty and the needless loss of many of the crew, and the Liberty fell like a wounded, dying man. The men in their lives betrayed, and their souls were surely damned, and all the fear and the death and the pain will never depart me. I'll hear the bomb again. I'll hear the bomb again.
Welcome back, folks, to Your Voice Counts. Thank you very much for hanging on, and thank you, Bart. Again, I wanted to thank Kat so much. She produces, she gets all my guests for me. Of course, she gets a lot of help from, James Morris and Ron Kukl, former petty officer aboard the USS Liberty. He's been on my show a lot of times, and I wanted to let people know that, listen, we're going to try to get these songs out to people that want them. They can get them from Kat and put them in your collection, and I think you'll enjoy them as a tribute to a bunch of fine human beings that tragically lost their life that day. And I just, they're so sad to hear them, but they're so true. And it is, it's something that, I was very, very fortunate to come by that a good friend of mine, Larry Thorne, he lives down in Mexico. He's always been a great supporter of the USS Liberty. Of course, he was wounded aboard the Liberty too, and him and Kat got together, and Kat put these songs together so fast for him, and just, God bless her for that. And then Rick, he's an artist too. I think I mentioned that on my last show. Her husband, he plays the keyboard and takes very, very, very good care of his wife and his family, and it's just a real pleasure to have them on board, because Kat takes care of everything. And just I don't know what I'd do without her. Also, I don't know what I'd do without RBN. I wouldn't be on the air. That's for darn sure. But Bart, I wanted to back up a little bit, Bart. I was thinking about, when you and I first got together, first started talking, and how interested you were and how knowledgeable you were, and the things that you tried to do, not just overnight, but over the years. And I thought, well, you're so tenacious about getting this done, and I was very flattered, by the way, Bart, by when you asking the Naval Institute, which you were a member for over 50 years, and then they lost your letter or request. And Bart, you know better than I do. I've got all the paperwork on it, but I'd like you to explain exactly how that happened.
Okay, Phil. Well, what happened, like I was saying, in 2005, I wrote something, never heard from him. Then when I heard your book, read your book, I got back into it again, and I wrote a letter to the Naval Institute as a book review on the 13th of July last year, and I'd like to read this letter that I wrote. And it said, what I saw that day about Israel's June the 8th, 1967 Holocaust of U.S. servicemen aboard the USS Liberty. This is what I said, this book details the experience of crewman Phil Turney while on the USS Liberty, GTR-5, during the attack of Israeli forces on June the 8th, 1967, resulting in the deaths of 34 American servicemen and 170 wounded. It is a story of extreme heroism on the part of the ship's company, resulting in the Liberty incident being brought to the attention of the American people. From a first-hand account, the author brings fourfold the viciousness of the attack on a ship that had a large American flag displayed, the carnage inflicted on her crew, and the tremendous damage done, which included over 820 bullet and shrapnel holes, areas burned by napalm, and a torpedo hole the size of an American home. The book is quite disturbing because not only the attack of our supposed ally, but also our own government has tried to keep the truth from the American people. Turney pulls no punches when he describes how the crew was treated by Admiral Kidd with court-martial and imprisonment if they told anyone what they experienced and what they saw. The surviving crew members were later broken up and dispersed to other ships and told not to discuss the incident with anyone, including their own families. Many never said anything for at least 20 years for fear of reprisal. As time went on, crew members started to come forth and talk. High-ups in our government, including President Johnson, Secretary of Defense McNamara, and Admirals McCain and Kidd, were involved in trying to keep the truth from being told. In October 2003, Captain Ward Boston, JAG USN retired, outraged at the cover-up, came forth and issued a legal affidavit which he had been ordered by President Johnson to conclude the attack on the Liberty was a case of mistaken identity, and that he was given 1 week to gather information when he estimated that proper court of inquiry for an official naval investigation would have taken at least 6 months to complete due to the magnitude of the attack. Turney was given a free trip to Naples and Rome, all expenses paid by the Navy, while the investigation was being conducted when the Liberty was in dry dock in Malta being repaired. This was done because he was one of the key witnesses of the attack and he was wanted out of the way. A group of Liberty survivors were invited by President George Bush Sr. to visit him concerning the Liberty and were kept waiting for 2 hours by him and then told he was too busy. Many of the group of 50 had traveled long distances for the event. The captain of the Liberty was almost to the point of tears. Turney describes this as being bushwhacked in no uncertain terms. Many prominent figures have questioned the findings of the Court of Inquiry, including concerning the Liberty, and have been staunch supporters of the crew. They include former Chief of Naval Operations Admiral Thomas Moore, now deceased Admiral Marilyn Starling, former congressional representatives Pete McCloskey, John Hestetter, Cynthia McKinney, CIS officer Philip Giroldi, Ambassador Peck, Israel dissident Mordecai Vananu, former Secretary of the Treasury Paul Cray Roberts, former Director of Army War College Alan Sabrowski, and many others. Recently, Admiral McMullen, Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, warned Israeli against another attack on an American ship. In an interview with Zimmu Brzezinski, former National Security to President Carter, said in the event of Israel attacking Iran, the U.S. should attack Israel. It would be like the Liberty in reversed. Turney very succinctly states that by the crew saving the Liberty, World War III was prevented because Egypt would have been blamed for the attack. He also states that the attack on the Liberty was a forerunner to September 11, 2001. The book is very well organized, well written, easy to read, and hard to put down when starting to read, and it is quite an eye-opener. And I said I was a Golden Life member of the U.S. Naval Institute and a naval history buff. Now, Phil, I sent that in, and I never heard anything. So then, in September, I called the Naval Institute, and I talked to Elise Doherty. She said she never received the letter, which I don't believe. So she said, send a copy in, which I did. And on the 14th of September, I got this reply. Dear Mr. Van Ness, receipt is acknowledged of your submission what I saw that day, which is being considered for publication. We will assume that your submission has not been previously published or being considered for publication elsewhere, unless otherwise notified by you. We will be in touch with you as soon as a publishing decision has been reached, approximately 8 to 10 weeks. Sincerely, Lacey Doherty. I waited until, the 1st of December came along, nothing happened. So then, in the meantime, in the September issue of 2011, Admiral Peter Daly wrote something, and he said, in effect, as a U.S. Naval Institute member, as a naval officer for more than 30 years, I endorse the integrity of the independent forum which responsible individuals have an opportunity to voice their ideas. As CEO, I will be accessible and will seek open feedback. All us in the naval profession, Naval Institute members, and interested citizens must engage for the Naval Institute to serve the nation well and accomplish the important mission. In the coming months, we will reach out to you for your input and insight how to make the Naval Institute more relevant to naval professionals and members. We will listen. We will value your ideas and ask for your active participation to deliver on those ideas. So he keeps on, blah, 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 this. Then he says, together we will all build on the Naval Institute's 138 years of service. Let us, listen to this, let us answer to John Adams' call. Liberty cannot be preserved without general knowledge among the people. Let us dare to read, think, speak, and write. Now that's what he said. So I didn't hear anything, so I held off until early in January. And I gave him about six more weeks of lead time. And I never heard anything. So I figured, well, I would write Vice Admiral Daly. So I did on the 11th of January, 2012. And this is what I said to him. Dear Admiral Daly, I'm a Golden Life member of the U.S. Naval Institute and have a quite extensive library of the U.S. Naval Institute and other naval books which I have accumulated over the years, and also have a collection of naval ship models, mostly World War II, that I have built. Like you, I was introduced to the U.S. Naval Institute by my father, who became interested in the Navy prior to World War II by John Worthington, whose younger brother, Joseph M. Worthington, Rear Admiral, U.S. Naval Academy, 1924, commanded the USS Benham, DD-397, and later USS Rochester, CA-124, and created their interest in the Navy and eventually mine. My father followed Admiral Worthington's career and also corresponded with him. This is how I became a naval history buff. I am also a direct descendant of Admiral Hazard Perry and also by marriage to Admiral David Porter, so my naval heritage runs deep. I was not in the Navy because of my eyesight, but served in the Army, but have always been partial to the Navy. I'm an associate members of the USS Liberty AGTR 5 Veterans Association, and very familiar with what happened to that ship on June 8, 1967, having extensively researched the subject. On July 13, 2011, I submitted a book review on the Liberty, Sea and Cruise, which I sent that to him. I never received a reply, so I called and was told it was never received. I then resubmitted a copy to Lisa Doherty's request in early September and received this reply, which, she said 8 to 10 weeks, and I gave her more time. Since then, I have heard nothing. Admiral Daly, I feel very strongly that this should be published so people not only be made aware of what happened, but in memory of the 34 crew members killed and the 170 wounded that day. I would very much appreciate your looking into this matter and seeing if this can be brought into fruition. I would very much appreciate your reply to me concerning this in the near future. In closing, I wish to thank you for your service in our country, to your country. With kind personal regards. So that's what I wrote to the Admiral. So, at this point in time, 2 weeks later, I got a letter from Lisa Doherty. Never heard from Admiral Daly. Dear Mr. Van Ness, we extend our most sincere apologies for not coming to a decision on review of what I saw that day in a timely manner. It appears your submission fell through the cracks. Unfortunately, we are unable to use the piece, so you feel free to submit it elsewhere. Thank you for reminding us of our oversight. We appreciate your Golden Life membership and your contribution to the open forum. That was on the 24th of January 2012. Best wishes, Lisa Doherty. So that's what happened. So I asked everyone to contact Admiral Daly. And, what I did after that, did you want to take a break, or shall I keep on going, Phil?
No, Bart, just keep on going. This is your story. This is your show, and so you can just keep on going.
Yeah, I was thinking about the advertising breaks. I didn't know.
They'll.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
All right. So I said, I wrote Admiral Daly on the 15th of February 2012. I said, Dear Admiral Daly, this is a rather belated response to Lisa Doherty's letter of January 24th to me. But to be perfectly frank, I am very disappointed in the Naval Institute's handling of this matter and consider it to be a slap in the face and disrespectful to the USS Liberty and her crew. I submitted this book review for America and also for the 34 members killed and the 170 members wounded, and the other survivors of the USS Liberty when that ship was attacked and nearly sunk in an act of war by Israeli forces on June 8, 1967. At no time did I expect any remuneration for the book review and would not have accepted any. My only desire was to get the truth out, as I am a patriotic American, first, last, and always, who is concerned about this great nation which is in dire straits. It was my hope, after reading your opening statement as CEO in the September issue of the Proceedings, which included a quote of John Adams, that something could be done with the story of the USS Liberty. The assault on the Liberty was followed up 7 months later with the capture of the USS Pueblo by the North Koreans in some similar circumstances, and it is quite possible this occurred because they knew there would be no retaliation on our port, which was brought out by Commander Boucher, who was shamefully treated similar to the crew of the USS Liberty. It is apparent to me and others that the Naval Institute is involved, along with our government, in the continuing cover-up of the assault on the Liberty. As a result, I have lost all respect for the Naval Institute, and I'm resigning my 52-plus year membership, which includes my Golden Life membership. I'm sending copies of this letter to the Board of Directors and the membership department, as I would not want it to fall through the cracks. Carbon copy, Board of Directors, U.S. Naval Institute, Membership Department, U.S. Naval Institute. And I signed that. So, I ask everybody now, please, to contact Admiral Daly, CEO, USS Naval Institute. It's small PHDALY, USNI.org, or 291 Wood Road, Annapolis, Maryland, 21402, or 1410-268-6110, or 1-800-233-8764. Call him up, contact him, and tell him, why won't they do it? And I also ask everybody to get your book again. And remember, you can get it from American Free Press if you want, 1-888-699-NEWS, 1202-504-5977. Also available, you can get 9/11, What Really Happened from American Free Press by Ed Whitney. And this is very important because there's a tie-up between everything. I also recommend to people that they get a chart from FREE, which is it's an organization to have a chart that shows exactly who runs the company, what organizations, and what government positions they hold, like in the Council on Foreign Relations, the Bilderbergs, and the Trilateral Commission. And it's called the Ruling Elite. They can get this from Kerrville, Texas, 78029. And the price is $10 for $10, $25 for $20, $50 for $30, and $100 for $50. And I ask people to do this. We can repeat those if you want later on. Now, I would like to say this, too. At this point, the Naval Institute, just so how hypocritical they are, they later came out with a lest we forget. It's all about the Pueblo. And how the Pueblo was attacked, and captured, and they say in this one thing, the Pueblo, captured by the North Koreans in 1968, is still a commissioned U.S. naval ship, but remains in North Korea today as a trophy. And yet they come out and say this, and yet they took the Liberty later on and scrapped her. They don't want you to know about it. These people are just. So, anyhow, the tie-in of the U.S. Naval Institute to the cover-up includes John Levin, who is a former Secretary of the Navy. He's a member of the U.S. Naval Institute Board of Directors, a member of the 9/11 Commission, and the 9/11 Commission was like Al Capone investigating the mafia. And he's also was a member of Project of New American Century, an associate with Henry Kissinger. And you can see this in the American Free Press article 4/9 of 12. Now, we can go into, I want to go into the McCain family. And the McCain family, this goes back to World War II, believe it or not. And this is Admiral Slew McCain, who was the grandfather of John McCain. And this guy, he was supposed to be a wonderful carrier admiral, this, that, and the other thing. Well, there was the Battle of Savo Island. The Marines landed in Guadalcanal on the 7th of August, 1942. And they were unloading ships later on, so they would have supplies and food and everything. And the Japanese came down to Savo Island on the night of 8th and 9th of August, and they sunk 3 American heavy cruisers, the Astoria, Quincy, and Vincennes, and the Australian cruiser, the Canberra, and over 1,000 seamen were lost. The transports were then pulled out, leaving the Marines on the beach short of rations and ammunition. Fortunately, they had some captured Japanese food, but they were cut back to 2 meals per day for a long time. Now, Admiral McCain, Slew McCain, was an architect of that defeat at Savo Island, and this was brought out in the two books. I'm gonna read the pages, and I'm gonna read from them. And these were U.S. Naval Institute publications. There was The Shame of Savo, page 266, and it says right here on 266, what was potentially even more embarrassing to Admiral King was that McCain had been nominated for promotion to Vice Admiral and was to become King's Deputy Chief for Naval Operations in August. Thus, McCain, who must be regarded as one of the architects of the defeat of Savo Island, and as one of those who put the success of the whole operation at risk, escaped any censure and was rewarded with future further promotion and commander of a carrier task force later in the war. Also, then you had Disaster in the Pacific, and this was another U.S. Naval Institute book, and published by Naval Institute Press, and on 226 it says, Admiral McCain had failed to search the area where the Japanese might have been after Admiral Turner, in effect, asked him to do so, but apparently Admiral Hepburn, who investigated, did not feel he should be called to account for it. And in any event, in view of subsequent events, McCain had taken over Bureau personnel. Such action would have been awkward, to say the least. And so, John McCain's grandfather escaped some of the blame for this naval disaster. Now, then we go to his son, Admiral McCain, and he was the one, as you know, was involved in the Liberty cover-up, he and Admiral Kidd. And then we go to John McCain, U.S. Senator, and he endorsed Crystal's book, and John McCain, he abandoned POWs in the Senate hearings in 1991 and 1992. He was involved in the savings and loan scandal in Arizona. His wife's family is part of the Arizona Mafia, and he is very pro-war for attacking Iran. And this guy, as far as I'm concerned, it's a very sore subject with me, because the POW incidents, I know personally of 3 POWs from World War II. One of them was a relative of mine. He was captured by the Japanese in the Philippines. They found him in Mindanao. He was captured on Mindanao and found him in Bilibid prison in Manila. He weighed 98 pounds, had his fingernails pulled out. He had been tortured. He lived about 4 years after the war. Then I had a very good friend of mine who was a survivor of the Bataan Death March, Blair Robinette, and he escaped from the Death March, and he was in that book, Bataan March of Death. He autographed a book for me, but he told me what the Japanese did, and then he also, this was written up in the book, just exactly what they did. I knew another, Sergeant Coyle. He was a master sergeant. He was an instructor of mine one time, and the only way I could describe this guy, he was captured on Corregidor. He was a ghost. He was an absolute ghost. And so you've got these people that are calling the shots here, and look what they've done. And these are the kind of people that it's just disgusting. Now, I understand there was a recent incident, Phil, and maybe you can bring this up, or do you know anything about it, where somebody raised up about McCain. He was at a Memorial Day presentation, and somebody raised something about the Liberty, and McCain turned around and called this individual a jerk. Did you hear anything about that?
I did, Barton, and I will get in that in the next hour. It's very, very interesting, and you're going to learn something that has really exploded on the internet. What he did and what he said, and the very brave, courageous person that did it. Folks, here we go to a break. Bart, hang on. What a wonderful, wonderful discussion we just had, and we'll have more. We've got a whole hour left. Folks, if you want to call on, please do it. But remember, support your sponsors in RBN and their pledge drive. God bless you.
Hey, honey, I'm home. I grabbed a newspaper on the way home. Look at all the news today.
Don't you know that all you're going to get in the newspaper is propaganda, twisted news, and false information?
Honey, this is a national newspaper. It has to be true.
Ha! For some reason, the majority of the population believe anything the mainstream media tells them. The newspaper doesn't give out the important attention of what's happening to this country and news that affects our daily lives. Say, does that newspaper mention anything about the North American Union?
No, not that I can see.
I didn't think so. You need to go to www.newswithviews.com, where truth is more important than political correctness. That's www.newswithviews.com. Hey, don't throw that away. We can use that in the birdcage.
Okay, move over. Let me start reading newswithviews.com.
The truth? Read all about it at newswithviews.com. Newswithviews.com, where reality shatters illusion.
If you're the mother of a child with behavior problems, I'd like to talk to you. My name is Janet Lehman. I'm a behavioral therapist and a mom. I know what it's like when the child you love becomes a defiant, out-of-control child who disrespects you. That's why my husband James and I created the Total Transformation, the program that tens of thousands of moms are now using to turn around their child's behavior. If you've heard about the Total Transformation and wondered if it will work for you, now you can try it for free. I'm willing to give away 1,000 programs today for free. All you need to do is get the program and let us know how it works for you. We'll let you keep it for free. I know the Total Transformation works because I used these techniques with my own son and with troubled kids for over 30 years. Let me prove to you that it works by giving you the program for free.
Call now. 1-800-583-1093. 1-800-583-1093. That's 1-800-583-1093.
Tired of being lied to by mass media? It's growing more and more apparent today that news is received less and less through standard media outlets. Even with a growing audience every day, RBN is beginning to direct more efforts into social media. Social media and the use of the internet is fast becoming the primary source of people for news, regardless of demographic. RBN has set out to provide some of the best news on the internet through republicbroadcasting.org and also has begun to use the tools to our advantage by way of social media. Republic Broadcasting is now operating a Facebook page to function as yet another avenue to have our collective voice reach new audiences across not only America, but across the globe as well. The Facebook page features not only news, but also an RBN player to listen to our broadcasts, as well as a contest corner where we'll raffle different prizes to our listeners. Get involved by visiting facebook.com/Republic Broadcasting and liking our page and share it with your friends and family, because you can handle the truth.
They said that Israeli forces knew not of the liberty's true identity, and so they took advantage of the serenity. They attacked the silent ship, making a 40-foot hole in the starboard, killing 34 and wounding almost 200 more. They're just sending down merciless napalm. It looked like a devil's Star Wars, and the liberty fell like a wounded and dying lamb. The men and the lions betrayed, and their souls were surely damned. And all the fear and the death and the pain will never depart me. I'll hear the bomb again. I'll hear the bomb again.
Welcome back, folks. Thank you very much for hanging on with Your Voice Counts, and of course for supporting this very, very special radio station, RBN. What a pleasure it is for me to be on this network. It means a lot to me, and what they've done for the USS Liberty survivors is untold. How many millions of people know about the USS Liberty that never knew about it before because of one person, the head man at RBN, John Statmiller. And John, thank you very much, and all the crew that work for you, and take good care of you, and take good care of this great radio station. And thanks, Mike, for being on the board today. You're always a professional, and I appreciate it. And I wanted to add one more thing. We had a show a couple of weeks ago. I was not on it. I was out of town. It was run by Ron Kukl and James Morris, and I believe also Dr. Snedgowski was on there with Colonel Wilkerson. And people have been asking if we could get that show up on the archives. I don't know if it's lost or not. If it is, that's fine. If it isn't, if we can get it up, that'd be great too. But I've had people that wanted to listen to it. So if we can do that, let's do it. And if not, we'll just go on to another day, and that's just the way that's going to be. But Bart, I was thinking during the break of what you were talking about our past heroes, and that the heroes that are serving our country today and fighting wars that we don't need to be in. And how many other men, Bart, have been slaughtered and forgotten? And the USS Liberty would have been slaughtered and forgotten. And again, we'd have been in World War III, no doubt about it, in my mind. And they would have blamed it on somebody else and said, "Oh, okay, yeah, they did it, and the dirty Muslims did it. Now let's go get them. We hate them, and they did this, they did that." But that wasn't the story. The Egyptian Army, Air Force, the Jordanian Air Force, they were all taken out in the first wave of Israeli attacks. The war was over basically in one day, but it was a land grab. It became nothing but a land grab, and here we were in a position to view it all. And listen, I wasn't a communication technician. I was just a regular ship's company, and I have to give all the respect to the brave men aboard that ship that died that day. And listen, we're going to be right back. We've got another break, and then we're going to come right back, Bart, and we're going to get into some more interesting things. But support your sponsors. Okay, yeah, please, all listeners, go to Station B. Go to B at RBN to catch the second hour of the show, please. Station B right away. Thank you.
Go.
Welcome back, folks. Here we go. Your voice counts on RBN. Real news, real talk, real people, because you can handle the truth. And Bart, I wanted to get back into a couple other things, but again, with maybe the music's still going on, I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time hearing here tonight. But if you want to call in, folks, be sure to go to 877-438-5350. That's 488. I better put my glasses on, Michael. 488-5350. But since we got that out of the way, and I don't have my computer in front of me or anything, I'm just kind of winging this. But with all the things that have happened in just the last couple of weeks, you know, the Romney campaign's falling apart. You know, we have this injustice in Palestine with no water for the little ones, the old ones, their animals or anything like this. And then we get back to the human factor again. And I mean, you know, all human factor around the world, you know, people suffer, and it's a terrible, terrible thing. But, you know, you bring up Corregidor and all the other, you know, very important parts of history where men lost their lives, and probably some of them needlessly so. And I believe the Indianapolis brings up a very good part of it. But you brought up a very interesting subject with Lloyd Booker, that was the skipper aboard the USS Pueblo. And he has said that if he'd have known about the USS Liberty, his ship would have never been captured. And, of course, they tried to crucify this man. Yes, his ship was taken, but he got no help. He got no help from anybody, and those guys suffered tremendously in a concentration camp and were brutalized by this country. And why our government hasn't sunk that Pueblo, and they could have many times. They should have sunk it right where it stands, where it's in port, and it won't be a memorial anymore. Just like they got rid of the USS Liberty, so it would not be, you know, held against that rogue state, the state of Israel. So, Bart, you know, we've gone through a lot of things today, and you know, your dedication for what you did with the Naval Institute and all that, and you know, have you ever gotten any satisfaction out of that other than the fact of doing it, or any other comments on that?
Never have gotten anything. Nothing. Now, I can say this. There was somebody wrote Admiral Daly a nice letter, and I doubt if she ever heard from him. Can I read a letter that Carol Ashew of Kamei, Idaho wrote to Admiral Daly?
Sure, please go ahead.
Dear Admiral Daly, I am but one of millions of Americans deeply concerned about all the signs indicating that both our nation's tragic fall from high moral ground generally, coupled with a consequent loss of so many of our unalienable rights and liberties. I write to ask you, sir, to please take prayerful stock of our national condition, and then from your lofty position of public trust, decide to take righteous, even if very belated, action in support of those numerous U.S. naval brethren of yours who were so tragically wronged in the 1967 assault on the intelligence ship, the USS Liberty. Let me remind you, if I may, that within just a few decades at most of your life, and your august career will be history. As you go to meet your reward in the hereafter, you will be very, very glad that you did the right thing here and now and took a selfless and courageous stand in this matter. Believe me, on that I am praying for you. In short, please arrange for a personal interview with one or more survivors of the USS Liberty, and then direct that this interview be given maximum exposure, both electronically and in print, starting with your own official U.S. Naval Institute publication. For such interview, I might suggest that there is no better person than to contact an heroic survivor, Mr. Phil Turney, author of the book, What I Saw That Day. I thank you sincerely, Admiral, as I eagerly await your active response in this critical matter. Carol J. Asher, Kamei, Idaho. I thought that was a very fine letter. She is a very fine, patriotic American, and I doubt if Admiral Daly ever gave her the courtesy of a reply. I can't say that he didn't, but I never have heard one word. So You know,
that's kind of what I figured, Bart. All the years of survivors, myself, others, great patriots, trying to get the truth out, get the same old story, or they get snubbed like you did, or the lady that just wrote that wonderful letter, they get snubbed. And the reason they get snubbed is because they're not going to answer them. They can't answer them because they know the truth, and the truth is more than they can handle. And when you sacrifice a crew of 294, and that's how many men were going to go down, with that ship. Now, how in the world are you going to explain that other than the fact that somebody else did it? They looked the other way. Well, we didn't do it. Somebody else did it. And, it's just they've admitted we were in the area. They knew we were there. They reconned us for hours and hours and hours. And then, you have a board of inquiry that is done in 7 days and on Admiral McCain's desk to sign as a authentic affidavit of what really happened. Now, let's get back to Judge Crystal and again John McCain and John McCain's daddy, who signed off on it. Now, how could John McCain, in all good honesty, in all good faith of being a naval aviator, and of course a prisoner of war, and to read that book and to endorse it is high treason, in my view. And for his father to endorse the investigation, which was later recanted, as you so eloquently said, by Captain Ward Boston, the chief JAG officer, that said it was nothing but a whitewash and a bunch of BS. So the point being, and of course we got Admiral Starring too, who became the JAG officer, the head JAG officer of the United States Navy. He was a two-star admiral. He wouldn't even sign off on it. He says, "No, I can't do this." And they retrieved that article or the declaration, the board of inquiry from him immediately, and again within 7 days, it was done. You got 34 American sailors and Marines and one civilian slaughtered, 172 to 174 others so badly wounded that you couldn't hardly look at them. The ship was so badly damaged, I don't see how we made it back to Malta. And why would they send us to Malta anyway when Crete was only about, probably 18 hours steaming away, maybe not even that much. So I'm thinking they wanted the ship to break up on the way out there, and that would have been it. That's what I'm thinking. So again, I want to go back to the other tragedies that have happened because of what Israel got by with. Now let's go to the Beirut bombings, Barton, and then we'll go to 9/11 and the motivation for it. Now we know. And we know this for a fact, that Israel knew that the Beirut bombings were coming, and they did nothing to warn the United States of America that over 248 Marines were going to die in their sleep.
283.
Excuse me. Thank you, sir. 283. I mean, it's just unbelievable that happened. And they let it happen, all because of the benefit of Israel. Now, here we have 9/11, and there's a lot of people who say, the motivation was there because of 9/11, but they didn't do it. They had nothing to do with it. But you have dancing Israelis, you have Mossad that's in tunnels with loads and loads and loads of TNT, and they send them all back to Israel. They let them off scot-free. So where do we go from here, Bart? Have you got any suggestions?
Well, let me say this, Phil, and you've brought up some very salient points. Number one, 9/11 is absolutely was our government was involved. Israel was involved. Now, I'm a member. The absolute proof to me today is not only what certain groups have brought out, and I have a very good friend of mine who's really knowledgeable in it, but also architects and engineers for 9/11 Truth, which I'm a member. There are 1,700 of us, and they have taken those Twin Towers and absolutely proved, professional people, professional engineers, that there were explosions and something was wrong. They're trying to call for a 9/11 Commission hearing. And this is very important, because if we get a good, independent 9/11 Commission hearing, the whole thing will fall apart. Everything will, believe me. And I think it's very important that people know about, maybe people listening to this show know about architects and engineers from 9/11 Truth. Richard Gage in San Francisco, and their website is ae911truth.org. And people want to. They have some very, very good DVDs on it, and this is very good. And what you're saying is yes, and just like you were saying about those Marines that were killed in Beirut. Israel knew about it. How do we know it was Arabs that did it? We don't know. Who was involved in it? We were told one thing, and I don't believe the news media at all. You cannot. I don't trust our news media. It's controlled. You know this. They've lied to us. And the coal. Did the Arabs do it? I wonder. So, okay. So, did somebody want to call in?
Mike, do we have a caller? Okay, thanks, Mike. I appreciate it. Rita, please come on the air. Welcome to Your Voice Counts.
Thank you. I'd like to comment in general about the information you've been sharing. A lot of this, I believe, in the early history of the United States, there was a man called Benedict Arnold, and he was in the military. And that's what I believe is happening and has been happening for many, many years in our country, and that is we have Benedict Arnolds in high places in our government. I read the autobiography of Douglas MacArthur, which is called Reminiscences. My hometown is Norfolk, Virginia, and I had a father that was who's now deceased that was a veteran of World War II, and I have a brother who's now deceased that was a veteran of the Korean War. Not Korean War, I'm sorry, the Vietnam War. And when I read the autobiography of Douglas MacArthur, I believe that Truman committed a treasonous act when he went after MacArthur after he was trying to do his duty to win the war against the communists in Korea. And when I read his autobiography, I thought to myself, why was not Truman arrested? Then as the years progressed, and I'm hearing you talk about, and I've heard Mr. Attorney before talk about the tragedy regarding his ship, and then the other deals. I am thoroughly convinced that the only solution to this, and I said this because I made a recent visit, because there are some people in the military that are fully aware of the treasonous acts that are happening there in Washington. And I'm a proponent, until the military arrests George Bush Jr. for treason and hang him up the nearest tree in front of the White House, I do not support the military. I do not support anybody in uniform, because I am thoroughly convinced that they are part of the mechanism that is being used to enslave the American people at large. I kind of look at the history of what happened over there in Egypt. Those people had enough of what was going on with Mubarak over there, And they demonstrated, and they made the mistake that the American colonists did in the Boston Massacre. They got massacred. And then there started a resistance. And then finally what happened is the military assisted in the overthrow of Mubarak. So I sit back, and I do not encourage anybody to enter the military. The military, as far as I'm concerned, is becoming perverted. I am thoroughly disgusted of having homosexual perverts being in command, and anyone who is of a Christian persuasion, I don't see how they would ever voluntarily or would want to be under the command of an agent of Satan. I am so disgusted. I'm sorry this happened to you, gentlemen, but I don't see anything, any solution to this other than an armed resistance.
Rita, I'm gonna comment, and then I'll let Bart comment. First of all, you bring up some very interesting and poignant points about the military. Now, I do want to go back to when I joined the military. I was 17 years old in 1964, and my dad fought in WW2, and so did my uncle. He got captured by the Germans. He was a paratrooper, and he was captured the first jump that he ever made. But as Bart was talking about, my uncle was about 175 pounds. When he got liberated, he weighed about 80 pounds. But the military, Rita, is a way of, if I may say, persuading people to do exactly what they want them to do. And they're young kids, and that's why they get them that way. And listen, I was that way, and I was influenced. But as I grew older, I learned, as well as my son did, that came back from Afghanistan and spent 14 months in a program called the Wounded Warrior Program. So I understand exactly what you're saying, but in general, I wouldn't paint a broad brush against all the military. Now, I understand where you're coming from, and I understand exactly the way you feel, but the military is just another entity like Bain Capital or J.P. Morgan. And so, listen, hang on, Rita and Bart, hang on. We're going to continue this discussion. We got any more callers? Please bring them up, Mike. Thank you. Support your sponsors on RBN. Bye.
The walls were coming down. It would be too late.
As many of you know, natural supplements are fantastic for your body and have zero side effects. You need to restore your body's natural balance. TerraVim strives to carry only the highest quality dietary supplements and natural vitamins that can be beneficial in helping your body recover from the impact of daily stress, allergens, illness, environmental pollution, and the aging process. Why buy from TerraVim? Simple. TerraVim provides a rewards program. Earn $1 for every $10 spent, free health consultations, free shipping on all orders, and an additional 10% discount on every order when you mention the coupon code RBN. Call 866-647-4372. That's 866-647-4372, or go to terravim.com. That's TerraVim.com. TerraVim, the best supplements on Earth.
Do you flinch when a police car appears in your rearview mirror, or you get pulled over? Are you squeamish when an envelope arrives in the mail with the return address of a court, a government agency like the IRS, or some law firm? Would you like to escape government agency harassment? Then visit escapeharassment.com. George Bush allegedly says, the government constitution is nothing but a doggone piece of paper. Well, that's a contract. A contract is an offer acceptance of that offer, at which point a contract arrives by law and the offerer can no longer withdraw the offer. We teach do not accept. That way there is no contract or agreement for you to go to their court or private club meeting. To escape government agency harassment like the IRS, visit escapeharassment.com. This is a tried and proven experienced process, not experimental, with a money-back guarantee that it works and success testimonials from previous students. Remember, escapeharassment.com. That's escapeharassment.com.
Herbal Healer Academy's new summer specials. Our 500 parts per million colloidal silver, all sizes on sale. Organic liquid iodine, liquid cal, mag, vitamin D, CoQ10 with hawthorn, colon enhancer, Super 2, natural laxative. Our exceptional product Connexin, memory power, and super male and femplex. All on sale for the summer at herbalhealer.com. Also, 10% off on the HHA survival course. This is an important time to have this information. Might save your life. Nation's leader in supplying quality natural medicine and education. herbalhealer.com. Free online newsletter. Quality natural medicine supplier since 1988. We ship the same day you place your order. Free 128-page catalog with your first order. Go to herbalhealer.com today. herbalhealer.com.
Well, finally, the officials back to Washington sends out a message that the ship moved farther out to sea.
Back, folks. Here we go for your voice counts. Thanks, folks. We got some callers lined up, and I certainly didn't want to cut Rita off or anything. But Rita, thank you for calling in. I hope you understand my point of view, and I certainly understand yours. And I hope you continue listening to the show, and we'll just go on from there. Is that okay with you?
Phil?
Yes.
This is Bart. Could I say something to Rita?
Sure, go ahead, please.
Rita, one thing, just like Phil, I understand what you're saying, but here's the thing. The only way that we can stop this is by educating people and informing them of what's going on from groups like the Council on Foreign Relations, the Bilderbergs, and how they run this country from behind the scenes. Because the only thing that they fear is exposure. They are scared to death of exposure, and I can prove this. I had 2 instances in my life where we exposed some things, and they folded their tent and went away. They were scared to death. An armed insurrection is wrong, and I'll tell you why. Because the powers to be have it already set up. If there's an armed insurrection, they will declare martial law. And they already have concentration camps set up in this country. They have executive orders set up. They've got these detention centers all over the country. And you also have right now the National Defense Authorization Act, where the military can come in your house without a search warrant, arrest you, and take you away, detain you with no judicial defense whatsoever. So you cannot do this. Now, I believe in the right to self-defense. I mean, you have a right to defend yourself and the right to keep and bear arms. Absolutely. But you cannot do this. Now, the military, this is what Henry Kissinger said. The military is being used. Henry Kissinger said that the military is nothing but a bunch of dumb, stupid animals to be used as pawns for political purposes. Henry Kissinger said that. Member of the Council on Foreign Relations, and he's one of the elitists. And it's people like this. We have to expose this. And I'm a veteran myself. I had 16 months in Korea. I don't support the wars. I do support the men, some of the men in the military, because they're being used. Now, you do have some traitors in the military, no doubt about it. But I just bring this point up to you, and I certainly understand your feeling, and I'm, I applaud you for your feeling, and I just wanted to say that. Thank you very much.
Rita, thank you for calling in, and we have a couple more callers, 2 or 3. We want to get in before this show gets off the air. So I'll tell you what, Mike, just bring up our first caller first, and we'll go from there. Okay, Rachel, how are you doing?
Fine. How are you doing, Phil? Thanks for taking my call.
Thank you very much. Just fine.
Good. Well, okay, the thing is I don't believe in the 9/11 conspiracy, and I'll tell you why. From the horse's mouth himself, Khalid Sheikh Mohammed said, and you can go to tiny URL, Motivation 9/11, he said, the reason why we attacked you is because of your foreign policy, because of your support for Israel and your oppression of the Palestinians. And, you know, that's the thing. Then you lose track of why we're in there. And to see the government doesn't want us to know that. Israel doesn't want us...
I agree. I agree with what you're saying, Rachel. I really do. It's just that other people have other opinions. And, you know, we can all agree to disagree.
Right.
But to,
well, I mean...
you know, to... just to, you know, flat out say one thing, I don't know if I agree with that or not.
Well, this is from the horse's mouth. This is Khalid Sheikh Mohammed. Like I said, if you go to the tiny URL, Motivation 9/11, he quotes before he was arrested. And bin Laden said, too, while we were attacked. Prince al-Walid, I don't know if you remember this. I remember seeing it on TV, too, or a clip of it back, I think, 2001. Anyway, Mayor Giuliani was giving a speech. It was, about, fixing up New York and fixing up the buildings and fixing up the Trade Center and all that. Prince al-Walid came up to him with a big check and said, "This is for you, but please consider changing your foreign policy in the Middle East." And he said, "Nothing doing." Why? Because he had political ambitions. He's going to run for president. But we're fighting all these wars for Israel. I call it fake Israel, because there's really no such thing as a state of Israel. Okay? But we're fighting all these wars. AIPAC has been pushing in all these wars, and I think they knew about we were going to get attacked because President Bush was briefed August 6, 2001 about it, and he did nothing. And he was briefed about it, and they said, don't...
Rachel, listen, I don't disagree with you, and I don't think Bart would either. But, you get the motivation, and then you get the people behind it. So, I think they go hand in hand. And, Bart, you can pick up on this, and then we got to go to our other callers. Thanks, Rachel.
Yeah, all right, Rachel, let me say... Rachel?
Yeah?
We're going to go to a break. We'll be
I'd like to get back to you. Okay.
Sure. Okay, we'll be back in a moment, folks. Support your sponsors, RBN. Thank you.
You're listening to the Republic Broadcasting Network, because you can handle the truth.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
A healthy heart starts with Extendovite. I've always believed that I had to have a strong defense to overcome the new superbugs of today. Extendovite, a 7-herb heart protection cocktail, not only helped me to overcome a massive heart attack, but it also has built up my natural immune defenses against colds and flus. Extendovite has so many benefits that we all should be taking Extendovite to build up our defenses for what superbugs might emerge yet. So start today, clean out the toxins, and be as healthy as you can be. To order, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822, or visit our website at heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Hey, honey, I'm home. I grabbed a newspaper on the way home. Look at all the news today.
Don't you know that all you're going to get in the newspaper is propaganda, twisted news, and false information?
Honey, this is a national newspaper. It has to be true.
Ha! For some reason, the majority of the population believe anything the mainstream media tells them. The newspaper doesn't give out the important attention of what's happening to this country and news that affects our daily lives. Say, does that newspaper mention anything about the North American Union?
No, not that I can see.
I didn't think so. You need to go to www.newswithviews.com, where truth is more important than political correctness. That's www.newswithviews.com. Hey, don't throw that away. We can use that in the birdcage.
Okay, move over. Let me start reading newswithviews.com.
The truth? Read all about it at newswithviews.com. Newswithviews.com, where reality shatters illusion.
If you're the mother of a child with behavior problems, I'd like to talk to you. My name is Janet Lehman. I'm a behavioral therapist and a mom. I know what it's like when the child you love becomes a defiant, out-of-control child who disrespects you. That's why my husband James and I created the Total Transformation, the program that tens of thousands of moms are now using to turn around their child's behavior. If you've heard about the Total Transformation and wondered if it will work for you, now you can try it for free. I'm willing to give away 1,000 programs today for free. All you need to do is get the program and let us know how it works for you. We'll let you keep it for free. I know the Total Transformation works because I used these techniques with my own son and with troubled kids for over 30 years. Let me prove to you that it works by giving you the program for free.
Call now. 1-800-583-1093. 1-800-583-1093. That's 1-800-583-1093.
They said that Israeli forces knew not of the liberty's true identity, and so they took advantage of the serenity. They attacked the silent ship, making a 40-foot hole in the starboard, killing 34 and wounding almost 200 more. They're just sending down merciless napalm. It looked like a devil's Star Wars, and the Liberty fell like a...
Welcome back, folks. Here we go to Your Voice Counts, and thank you for calling in, and thank you, Kat, Rick, for putting together a wonderful, wonderful song. I'll help you get a lot of CDs out, get those things sold. But listen, let's go on and let Barton go ahead and respond to Rachel, and then we'll go on to the next two callers because I want to get them on the air.
Rachel, I can understand your confusion about this. Let me say this, that architects and engineers from 9/11 Truth, as I say, AE911truth.org, I suggest you look them up. And as I say, there's 1,700 of us. Now, they have absolute proof that there were explosions in those buildings, and also there are traces of nanothermite, which some physicists have absolutely proven they were there. There were pieces of that building blown over 600 feet across the street. They found bone fragments on the top of one of those buildings in 2006. There were 118 firefighters and policemen were given a gag order by the FBI not to say anything that they'd heard and felt explosions. Now, your 9/11 Commission, which was really nothing more than Al Capone investigating the mafia, 6 members of that 9/11 Commission were members of the Council on Foreign Relations, if you know anything about them.
Well, I know Lee Hamilton was on the commission, and he did. A friend of mine who was the heckler, that so-called heckler that had the exchange with John McCain on Memorial Day in San Diego, and he's calling in too, and he'll explain more. But he confronted Lee Hamilton, and he told him about the 9/11 Commission report, page 147. We were attacked. Khalid Sheikh Mohammed said we were attacked because of our support for Israel. And, you know, Lee Hamilton shunned him. It's like, Israel's our friends.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly. You see, this is so, I mean, you know, I suggest you do this. What I would do if I were you, I would research this. Contact architects and engineers from 9/11 Truth. They've got some excellent DVDs. And then you've got, as I said, what I saw that day, what happened that day by American Free Press, and if 9/11 is ever exposed, if we can get a good 9/11 Commission hearing, you'll see this whole thing fall apart. So I just throw this out to you, but I certainly do. I know you're a good American, and I would research this a little bit more. And
remember, the Jews don't want you to bring up the why we were attacked. They want Palestine. They don't want to ever mention our foreign policy.
Oh,
they
absolutely.
want to look good. So you can't really. You're taking away the truth.
Right.
And, you know, the thing is, too, by the way, I gave you Tiny URL. It's tinyurl.com/motivation911, and then there's tinyurl.com 9/11 motivation, and you'll see a friend of mine having it out with Lee Hamilton. And also people on the panel were telling Lee Hamilton, too. They investigated it, and they said we were attacked on 9/11 because of our foreign policy in the Middle East. And the thing with the Building 7, too, there is a video out, really good one. I wish I had a link, but...
I know, yeah, I know about, yes, Building 7.
Tom Murphy put it out, Representative Press, and it proves the
it was a controlled demolition.
Well, it wasn't.
Yeah.
But
well, listen, Larry Silverstein, he was the one that said pull it.
Well, listen, Rachel, thanks for calling in.
Yeah.
And we got other callers coming in. Rachel, we always appreciate your participation. You're a great American.
Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you.
God bless you.
Thank you, too. Bye-bye.
Okay, Mike, let's just go who's up next, and we'll take that caller and let them see what they want to talk to Bart about.
Hello?
Anthony, how you doing? Welcome to Your Voice Counts. Thanks for calling in.
Yes. I want to say, first of all, that I can't thank you enough, Phil, for having this program. I'm sorry that over many years I didn't get to tune into this, and today you have an excellent guest. And Bart, you mentioned John Lehman, right?
Right.
Well, he was involved with the super ferry that my friend over there in Hawaii, and he was the head of the board on pushing the super ferry, telling the people in Hawaii that it was going to be for the public, when in fact it was going to be for moving troops back and forth for the takeover of the military as the military continues to take over the Hawaiian Islands. Right? It's basically a military base, and the people that think that they're there because of tourism, whatever, it's a military base. But anyway, John Lehman was in the head of the board on that super ferry. So this guy's been around. We have Henry Kissinger, of course, the mastermind of the Vietnam War, right? And
the sellout,
he should be held accountable, right?
Absolutely.
And not a word about that, right?
Oh, absolutely.
And
you're absolutely right.
And this thing with the USS Liberty, my friend in Hawaii put on a program, put the Dead in the Water. He put it on the local community television, and the Homeland Security came after him. They investigated him back in 50 years into his background.
Well, I don't doubt it.
Because he was exposing who is really connected. We have APAC, American Israeli Public Affairs Committee.
Right.
They're the ones that run our Congress.
Right.
So how could we possibly be weird? What kind of Americans are we? And then, as far as the 9/11 is concerned, I mean, you have to look at, and Phil had a guest on here, I think it was Jones, but I've watched Richard Gage, right, and on Press TV. And, I've watched this over the years, and this is technical, very technical, and you have to look at it technicalities, because that's where it's at. If we can, talk about different other perspectives, but you've got to look at the technicalities of how those buildings went down. And as you mentioned, the thermite, right?
Right.
Well, that thermite was military, not commercial.
Exactly.
I mean, it was even more powerful than what you would get off the commercial line.
Yes, nanothermite. Yes, exactly. Well, you look at the technical aspects. You're absolutely right about this, you see. And
so, and the thing is that before I leave, because I know that you have another caller, and I want to make sure that I don't take up all the time, is that I want to make sure I get all this information that you put out today Bart. I want to be able to have a link to that or rehear it or what? How can I make sure that I get connected with you?
Let me answer that, please, Anthony. Go to republicbroadcasting.org and go to their archives, and they'll have that downloaded for you, and you can you can get it from there, and all the other shows from Your Voice Counts, and even the shows I did way back when it was called the Liberty Hour. But anything you want, you can go there and you can get it. And I'll tell you, there's some very interesting archives there, and it's just it's a great place to learn and educate yourself and educate other people. And I know about the person you're talking about in Hawaii, by the way, about Dead in the Water, and also Lost of Liberty, which is a wonderful tape. And there's been so many different things that come out that good Americans like yourself that care about what's going on with this country. We're going to have to support people that put it out, and that's RBN, folks. If you want to get the real truth out, you got to support RBN. So,
and I really appreciate that, Phil.
Suggestion.
I really appreciate that very much. So, Bart, thank you very much again for everything, the information you have, and like I said, Phil said you go on and I'll be able to trace all the information down. I have actually emailed the 9/11 architects and engineers, but I never got any response, so I was kind of disappointed.
Well,
okay,
try them again, I guess. Richard Gage, yeah. But they have these film strips. They have several fine DVDs that breaks this thing right down. It really does.
Yeah. Yeah, and then lastly, before I go, I want to remember the Gulf of Tonkin resolution.
Oh, that was
based on lies.
Yes, that was a false flag operation, just like 9/11. Absolutely.
Exactly. Then we killed over how many millions? Over 65,000 minimum of Americans were killed. Henry Kissinger, he was an architect of that war.
Absolutely was.
Even Nixon couldn't find out where he was. He was out running around doing all kinds of stuff, and he didn't have a handle on it at all. So,
right.
I mean, if you look back and look what happened, what we did with Iraq. No weapons of mass destruction, no connection to Al-Qaeda, no connection to 9/11. We kill 1 million people.
That's right.
This thing is run by the APAC, American Israeli Public Affairs Committee, and American people need to wake up.
Well, they do.
Thank you.
I couldn't agree with you more, and I'll tell you, APAC is getting by with more and more and more. And remember, folks, APAC supports the government of Israel, which they are arm of the government of Israel, which is a superpower. They have nuclear submarines. They have over 300 to 500 nuclear weapons, and possibly they could be pointed at the United States. And I think, folks, if you ever heard about the Samson option, that's exactly what could happen, because they're not going to go down alone. They'll kill us all. James Morris, you're on the show.
Well, I really appreciate it, the kind words and all that, and thanks to Bart for bringing up what I'd asked of John McCain on Memorial Day about his association and his Admiral Father's association with the ongoing USS Liberty cover-up, and as you said, it exploded on the Internet. If you do a search over at Google and Yahoo and search for McCain Confronted, I think you can see that. And Bart mentioned some interesting points about his grandfather. I'd always thought he was a pretty noble guy. It was the father and McCain who, I didn't really like too much for their treason against America, but what Bart had mentioned about Guadalcanal and John McCain's grandfather, I didn't know that, so that was very interesting. But I'll start with this. I've got some notes here I've taken. Let me start with what we've talked about from the beginning. Bart, that was interesting what you'd mentioned about Phil's book with the U.S. Naval Institute, because I remember the article by David Walsh, Friendless Fire, that had appeared in Proceedings. Again, that's the publication associated with the Naval Institute. And that article took the line that the Liberty attack was deliberate. So I'm just wondering, did they have any ramifications after that to go against that position? Because I don't know if you ever saw that article. I'm sure you did.
I don't know whether I did, but here's the thing, James. Of course, then Crystal gave great coverage.
Well, that's what's interesting about it, because I had been the one that had got Captain Boston's declaration faxed to James Bamford to read at the State Department that day. They had the USS Liberty panel on the Six-Day War, and Phil can be seen being cut off at the end of the Q&A by the Jewish historian there, Mark Susser, but, Israel firster, of course, because not all Jews put Israel first, but he apparently did that day. But I also wanted to touch on some other things we talked about here with regard to 9/11. Oh, first of all, before I get to that, I thought it was really interesting in the news recently. I saw that a court in the U.S., I believe it's a federal court or whatever, has successfully sued for $813 million, sued Iran. How are they going to collect is another story, for the Marine barracks bombing. So how convenient. We saw Victor Ostrowski's book, By Way of Deception, that conveys that the Mossad knew about that attack in advance.
Oh, sure.
Anyway, I just thought that there's another example of pro-Israel bias in our courts as well, and we know who has influence there these days. But anyway, back to the 9/11 situation. Let's touch on that. I take the position as Rachel, the prior caller, America First Patriot as well, that our foreign policy was the main motivation, primary motivation for not only the attack on 9/11, support for Israel, of course, against the Palestinians, but also the prior attack in 1993. And you can look up Israel as a terrorist motivation in the index of James Bamford's A Pretext for War book. And to deviate from that position is very, you were saying that Rachel should get a bit better informed. Bart, I think you need to look at my friend Tom Murphy's website, Representative Press, and look, it's representativepress.org, and he's got the YouTube channel Representative Press as well. And he completely debunks Richard Gage. I mean, Richard Gage is on a Fresno TV station saying that there was no bowing to the structure of the World Trade Center towers before the collapse. That's completely false. Tom Murphy's got a video where you see the structure bowing, and it's basically, you can see it starting to have signs of collapse. You have a fireman even taking note of that, and not only with the towers, but with Building 7 as well. So to take Richard Gage's word on this with architect and engineers from 9/11 Truth, that's suspect, highly. The bottom line is, as with Building 7, and we had Professor Jones on the show a few weeks ago, he doesn't even want to mention, with all due respect for him as coming on as a guest, very much appreciated, he didn't want to talk about the fire with Building 7. Building 7 was not a controlled demolition either. It was debris that had impacted that building, caught the diesel fuel on fire. The steel structure was weakened. It did not have to melt. It was weakened. The insulation wore away and the buildings came down. To keep on saying this is inside job, controlled demolition, it just puts us into the marginal realm of conspiracy kooks where we're not addressing the main thrust here, which is U.S. support for Israel. And like Rachel said, the Israel firsters love that. Because we get all these people marching around inside job, all these explosives that go into buildings. It's BS.
Wait a minute.
U.S. support for Israel. What do you think? Nope, and I'm not trying to take it out on you, sir.
Well,
I believe you're America first.
Let me ask you a question.
One quick thing, I'm going to go because I don't want to take up too much more time. Look at Ramzi Youssef as well. Ramzi Youssef in 1993. He was Khalid Sheikh Mohammed's nephew. He wanted to bring down the towers for the same reason.
Let me ask you a question.
So I don't need the conspiracy stuff, though. I want facts.
No, I'll give you a fact. What's jet fuel?
It's obviously what was in the airplanes that burned.
What is jet fuel?
Well, it's Jet A fuel. It's high-octane fuel. What else? Kerosene.
No, it's kerosene.
Well, fine. Well, the bottom line is...
All right, kerosene...
I don't care. No, listen, I don't want to go on tangents. The bottom line is those buildings, the metal, the steel did not have to melt. It was weakened. And for people to say, the kerosene couldn't melt the steel, it didn't melt. It was weakened. What do you think they have fire insulation on those beams for? That insulation was worn away with the impact or the fire, whatever you want to call it, and it basically had its structure weakened, and the towers came down. And that happened because of U.S. support for Israel. For anybody to sit there and say, what's Jet A fuel, what's jet fuel, it doesn't matter. A fire happened, it weakened those beams, and the buildings fell. That's the bottom line. You tell me how you'd get all those kind of explosives into that building without anybody knowing about it. This is conspiratorial.
They can do
we got a break coming up, folks, and it was kind of a fiery discussion right there. At the end, we'll get into it for the next couple seconds before the show ends. So hang in there, folks. Again, support your sponsors at RBN. Good people, great people. Please do it.
I grabbed a newspaper on the way home. Look at all the news today.
Don't you know that all you're going to get in the newspaper is propaganda, twisted news, and false information?
Honey, this is a national newspaper. It has to be true.
Ha! For some reason, the majority of the population believe anything the mainstream media tells them. The newspaper doesn't give out the important attention of what's happening to this country and news that affects our daily lives. Say, does that newspaper mention anything about the North American Union?
No, not that I can see.
I didn't think so. You need to go to www.newswithviews.com, where truth is more important than political correctness. That's www.newswithviews.com. Hey, don't throw that away. We can use that in the birdcage.
Okay, move over. Let me start reading newswithviews.com.
The truth? Read all about it at newswithviews.com. Newswithviews.com, where reality shatters illusion.
If you're the mother of a child with behavior problems, I'd like to talk to you. My name is Janet Lehman. I'm a behavioral therapist and a mom. I know what it's like when the child you love becomes a defiant, out-of-control child who disrespects you. That's why my husband James and I created the Total Transformation, the program that tens of thousands of moms are now using to turn around their child's behavior. If you've heard about the Total Transformation and wondered if it will work for you, now you can try it for free. I'm willing to give away 1,000 programs today for free. All you need to do is get the program and let us know how it works for you. We'll let you keep it for free. I know the Total Transformation works because I used these techniques with my own son and with troubled kids for over 30 years. Let me prove to you that it works by giving you the program for free.
Call now. 1-800-583-1093. 1-800-583-1093. That's 1-800-583-1093.
Tired of being lied to by mass media? It's growing more and more apparent today that news is received less and less through standard media outlets. Even with a growing audience every day, RBN is beginning to direct more efforts into social media. Social media and the use of the internet is fast becoming the primary source of people for news, regardless of demographic. RBN has set out to provide some of the best news on the internet through republicbroadcasting.org and also has begun to use the tools to our advantage by way of social media. Republic Broadcasting is now operating a Facebook page to function as yet another avenue to have our collective voice reach new audiences across not only America, but across the globe as well. The Facebook page features not only news, but also an RBN player to listen to our broadcasts, as well as a contest corner where we'll raffle different prizes to our listeners. Get involved by visiting facebook.com/Republic Broadcasting and liking our page and share it with your friends and family, because you can handle the truth.
Welcome back, folks. Here we go for the last few minutes of the show. And again, thanks to RBN. Thank you, Kat, for your beautiful songs. Hope we can get them sold for you. And thank you, Rick, for helping Kat out with everything you do. And, you know, folks, you know, this show has a lot of different personalities on it, a lot of different views. But, you know, we can all agree to disagree. We do know the motivation behind it was our support for Israel. Now, whether Israel was in on it or whatever, you know, there's been a lot of things that have come down the pike that said they were, and there's been a lot of things that come down the pike that said there wasn't. So there's no need for, you know, any discourse or yelling or whatever. We all have our own minds, so let's just go that route. That's the way I'd like to do it. So just, you know, please, folks, enjoy yourself, and let's go ahead with you, Bart, and you can respond to James Morris's comments, please.
Yeah, well, number one, as I say, they found pieces of skull fragments later on. In 2006, they found steel members blown across the building, across the street. Fire engineering said that the complete investigation was an absolute hoax that they did. Fire engineering said there was no investigation at all. It was an absolute cover-up. And very definitely, Larry Silverstein said, pull it. And the controlled demolition of Building 7. And matter of fact, BBC at 5 o'clock in the afternoon said Building 7 had collapsed, and there's a strip showing Building 7 still standing, and it didn't collapse until 5:20 that afternoon. So, you know, and William Rodriguez. So many people heard and felt explosions in those buildings, and they could those charges could have been placed in well in advance, and they were. But this is why you need a 9/11 Commission hearing, and there's no conspiracy theory. If you look at the Council on Foreign Relations. And Philip Sekula was the head lead man in the 9/11 Commission. He was a Bush appointee, and he would not, you know, he wrote the 9/11 Commission findings even before it was published. So, you know, Mr. Morris better start doing his homework. You know, that's all I got to say. I mean, you know, there's more to it. So that's, you know, so.
You have any comments, James?
Listen, I don't partake in the 9/11 conspiracy. I mean, the bottom line is our support for Israel brought those towers down. I mean, if there's a skull fragment, if that's even credible, and again, from Richard Gage's track record, he doesn't know what he's talking about when it comes to 9/11, as my friend Tom Murphy of RepresentativePress.org has conveyed with his various videos.
1700.
Let me just finish the point on another issue before the show closes out, on what I do agree with regard to what Bart had said. With the military, I have the utmost respect for the U.S. military. I think there are some traitors within it. I think the majority of Americans who serve in our military go into the military to serve America and put America first. But when you have people like the Marine General David Berger, who I just confronted on C-SPAN's Washington Journal recently, you can go to neoconzionistthreat.com and see the video at the top there. I had asked him about 9/11. I said we were attacked because of our support for Israel, and those Marines that he's in charge of in Afghanistan should be on the U.S. border with Mexico instead. And I do a Google search with him. I do a search with him, and it shows that he met with the board of JINSA, the Jewish Institute for National Security Affairs, at the Pentagon.
Okay,
and then you've got Norton Schwartz.
Here comes the end of our show, and again, thank you very much for joining in. Bart, what a wonderful program. The 2 hours went very fast. Thank you for all your calls, people, and we'll talk to you next week. And we'll get you back on air, Bart. Thanks very much. God bless you. God bless everybody out there in the world. Take care of yourself. See you next week. Bye-bye.
Now Liberty was a long ship. Some called her the spook ship. The men sworn to keep the sea. She sailed in international waters, off the coast of Sinai, into the Mediterranean Sea.
I am. Okay, I'm sorry. Thank you, Mike. I didn't hear the cutoff there. But anyway, thank you, Kat, for your wonderful music and everything else. I'm on the cell phone today, folks, and I hope you can hear me well and everything's clear. I'm out on a boat right now with my son and my wife, trying to relax and get a few days in of just being with my family. And my son just got back from Afghanistan, as most of you know, and just trying to show him a good time as much as I can anyway. But I think all veterans need that type of outlet to get out and do what they can do, and enjoy the world as much as they can, and forget about the past if that's at all possible. I doubt it, especially in the USS Liberty cover-up and murders of my mates. And again, everybody knows I do this show because of USS Liberty and my love for my mates, the people that perished that day in international waters. at the hands of the state of Israel in a premeditated, cold-blooded, murderous attack.
And the ability to borrow becomes critical. Working capital cash is your greatest insurance and guarantee of financial stability in these uncertain times. Equipment leasing allows you to obtain the income-producing equipment that your business needs and pay for it with tax-free, ever-devaluing dollars. Money that you've already earned and paid taxes on should be sparingly used. That is your reserve capital, safety net. We are also able to buy and lease back equipment that you already own and have depreciated, thereby making more cash available for your present-day needs. For a complete, comprehensive explanation as to how this financial truth will benefit your business future, call Bob New Incorporated at 888-639-2621. 888-639-2621. Keep your working capital cash reserves and borrowing capability. 888-639-2621.
They said that Israeli forces knew not of the liberty's true identity, and so they took advantage of the serenity. They attacked the silent ship, making a 40-foot hole in the starboard, killing 34 and wounding almost 200 more. They're just sending down the merciless napalm. It looked like a devil's Star Wars, and the Liberty fell like a wounded and dying lamb. The men and the lions betrayed, and their souls were surely damned. And all the fear and the death and the pain will never depart me. I'll hear the bomb again. I'll hear the bomb again. I'll hear the bomb again.
Welcome back, folks. Here we go to Your Voice Counts on this Friday evening here in Colorado. It is approximately on a flagged American ship in international waters, doing what our government had ordered us to do and be in that position. Now, we have a great guest coming on tonight, Bart Van Ness. Now, Bart, hang on. I have some Liberty business I have to get taken care of, and, of course, RBN business. And just sit back, relax, enjoy yourself, and listen to the show, and we'll get you on just as soon as we can and get your very, very important testimony done. Again, I want to thank my shipmates and the people that support this show, and a lot of shipmates do, and of course some don't. But you know, you can't please everybody, just the way it is. But I do it for you guys. I don't do it for me. I do it for you guys. You know, I was one of the lucky ones. I survived that attack, and it just seems like yesterday that we were forsaken by our country 45 years ago, as we are forsaken today. Just like, I'll get a little off topic here, but a little off topic means of what's going on with the Romney camp and their voter fraud and what else is going on. Who knows, you know, what is going on with their country, folks. It's not supposed to be that way, but it is. And here we are. So, again, I just, you know, I'm very proud to be on this radio program. And, again, support your sponsors on RBN, Republic Broadcasting Network. You know, real talk, real news, real people, because you can handle the truth. And if you can't handle the truth, you don't need to be listening to RBN. I mean, that's just the way I feel. I mean, there's so many great hosts that John Statmiller has lined up for his programming, his outstanding corps of engineers, and Mike's doing my show tonight. Thank you, Mike, very much. And here goes a break. Remember, support your sponsors on RBN. We'll be back in just a moment. Thank you. A few minutes after 7 o'clock. And, of course, on the East Coast, we know it's 9. perfect time for this radio show. And folks, if you want to call in 877-485-3350. That's 877-488-5350, because I think you're going to want to talk to my guest coming up here in just a moment. But I also wanted to get to RBN has had a pledge drive going for a while, not really too long, but they certainly need help, as everybody does, trying in this economy to keep a quality, fantastic radio show that RBN does put on. And I think John Statmiller and the rest of the crew would be happy if you click on republicbroadcasting.org and send them a few bucks and keep this show the quality type of people that John has on his show, and the hosts and the guests. It's just fantastic, and I've been very, very fortunate with RBN. They've done me many, many favors that I can only count my blessings for. I got a 2-hour show now, and it's in honor of my mates. That's 2 hours a week to honor my mates and all the fallen of this country. How many people, folks, have been slaughtered, have been let out to be murdered by a country? And I'm not talking about a foreign country. I'm talking about our country. And I hate to say that. I do. It just breaks my heart, because I was born and bred an American. I am an American. But when you find out that your own government will set you up and then lie about it, and then turn around and tell you not to say anything about it, it's pretty disgusting. It's more than that. It's heartbreaking. It's been 45 years of heartbreak for most of us, and we're losing a lot of guys now. They're getting older, and of course I'm getting older. I don't know how much longer I'm going to stick around, but I feel like I got 45 years. God bless you. And again, support your sponsors is very important. Thank you.
I'll hear the bomb again. I'll hear the bomb again.
Chlorine, fluoride, pathogens, and more are in the water you drink day to day. Do you want the ability to remove and reduce those harmful things in the water you drink? You can. How? With a Berkey water filter. A complete standalone gravity filter system that requires no electricity and no plumbing. Used for emergencies or for every day. Berkey systems come in 7 different sizes. Where can you get one? From GetBerkey.com. That's GetBerkey.com. With the purchase of each system, you get 50% off accessories, such as fluoride filters, water level spigot, and sport bottles. Plus free shipping on all orders over $25. For a limited time, get 5% off all ceramic systems when you use coupon code RBN. Call Get Berkey at 855-GET-BERKEY. That's 855-438-2375. Or visit GetBerkey.com. That's GetBerkey.com.
Don't answer it! How can I stop these annoying collection calls?
Imagine being free from your debt without settling, and with no payment plan, no negotiating or filing bankruptcy, and no attorneys. What if you could eliminate the risk from all your unsecured debt in about 90 days and keep all your money? You can. It's called Zero Debt Guarantee, and it works. There's no other program of its kind on the planet, and we guarantee the results in writing. Call now, 800-477-9256. Let our team of experts provide you with the resources to fight back, stop collection calls, and prevent and stop wage garnishments and bank levies. If you're facing foreclosure, we can help. Don't go it alone. Get free information now by calling 800-477-9256. Talk to an expert who has also completed our program. Call 800-477-9256 for free info, or go to ZeroDebtGuarantee.com. That's 800-477-9256, or go to ZeroDebtGuarantee.com.
As business becomes more difficult, control of cash